The best thing for an NBA front office is a cheap contract. Here are 5 contracts from the 2023 free agency period that are good for the front office and not so much for the player. There is still time for more big deals to come out of the chaos of free agency, but these deals are the best deals based on what we thought their market would be. Trey Jones, a $10 million deal with the San Antonio Spurs. Last year, Trey Jones started 65 games for a team that had very few game managers. Even though he isn't going to take the San Antonio Spurs offense to crazy heights, he will be a great game manager. Not many floor generals are as good at protecting the ball as he is. He may not be the best player, but he keeps his dribble going and makes the most of small spaces.
Right, I'm extremely excited. Obviously flying in and whatnot. You know, it's a different city, but obviously Austin is close to home, and we're really excited to get going here.
Only Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and Damian Lillard had a turnover rate below 12% and an assist rate above 30% last season. Jones does have some problems with how things work. He isn't very tall at 6'1", and his career three-point percentage of 27.1% can make the court smaller depending on how he lines up. Despite that, he has a good mid-range game and fights hard on defense. And at age 23, he is still not done. Even potential starting point guards should cost more than this. This could be the best deal in the history of free agency. Javon Carter signed a 3-year, $20 million deal with the Chicago Bulls. Does anyone find this pay surprising? Most point guards are more creative with the ball in their hands than the 27-year-old. This makes it hard to use him to pick and rolls or attack set defenses. But he makes up for what he lacks in traditional orchestration with an infinite ability to scale. Last season, Carter made almost 44% of his shot-up threes, which made up more than a third of his shots, and made over 39% of his pull-up threes. His offensive tools work well with his running partners, who are dominant with the ball. And then there's the defense. Oh my. For 94 feet, he will be like a second skin for the other team's ball handlers.
The reaction when I first got traded, surprised, definitely surprised. But then right after that, immediately was like happy.
Even though he's short, he can defend either guard position because he is fast, strong, and never stops moving around the screen. Carter playing with Alex Caruso is bad news for the other team's offense. Shake Milton. He signed with the Timberwolves for 2 years and $10 million. Shake Milton was one of the best backup point guards on the open market, and the Minnesota Timberwolves signed him for less than minimal money, while keeping full control over his second-year status. Most of the time, 7th or 8th man reserves don't need a lot of money, and as long as Anthony Edwards, Mike Conley, and Kyle Anderson are healthy, he won't be as of use. But Milton's role may end up being bigger than expected, in part because Minnesota can pair him with any other guard or main playmaker.
I mean, it's kind of like what I said, you just got to be ready. You don't really know what's going to happen or how many minutes you're going to play, whether it's 1 or 15. You just got to be ready, and whenever your number's called, you got to make the most of your opportunity.
The 26-year-old player is 6'5" tall, which lets him defend and gives him leverage when going for the basket. In his first 5 years, he has made at least 62% of his shots around the basket in 4 of those years. His playing also has different rhythms. He can throw off defenders by pausing while dribbling and changing directions. But when he has the ball, he moves more quickly. The 40% clip Milton just put on three-pointers without dribbling is more proof that he can contribute to an offense with more players. Jalen McDaniels signed with the Toronto Raptors for 2 years and $9 million. Wings who are 25 years old and are 6'9" tall and can defend 3 positions well and make open three-point shots shouldn't get much less than the mid-level expectation. Still, the Toronto Raptors were able to find Jalen McDaniels, most likely because of his streaky three-point shooting ability. He only hit 36.6% of his open triples last season, but that's good enough to open up the court. And he definitely deserved to play more as the Philadelphia 76ers tried to get into the playoffs. He has also shown a tendency to do more things in space. Even though he wasn't very good at handling the ball or making plays, he made 42.5% of his floaters and 46.9% of his fadeaway jumpers.
For like first quarter, we definitely kind of like eased into it. And then on, we just start to ramp it up, amp it up. On defensive end, some of the coverages, like trapping Tatum, just to fly around, build some energy, and create some turnovers. So that's what we started to do in second quarter and throughout.
Toronto's awkward half-court spacing could hurt McDaniels' offensive appeal. It's hard to believe that he was even for sale at this price, which may be a bad sign for Philadelphia's offseason. Gabe Vincent. The deal with the Los Angeles Lakers is for 3 years and $33 million. Gabe Vincent leaving the Miami Heat for less than the full non-taxpayers mid-level expectation is something. It's good for the Los Angeles Lakers, and it could be bad for the Heat, depending on what happens with Damian Lillard's trade request. Vincent's inconsistent three-point shooting will make some people doubt him. During the regular season, he only made 33.4% of his long-range shots, and over his career, he has a 33.9% success rate. But he can be more precise, and you have to think about how hard some of his looks are. During the playoffs, the 27-year-old made 44.6% of his shot-up threes.
I just feel a great sense of pride, to be able to represent a country with so many people that, really value how we perform and how we play. And, I just take a lot of pride in representing them.
His confidence off the dribble can get him into trouble, but during the regular season, he made 48%, 12 of 25 of his step-back threes. The Lakers' offense will improve a lot if they get a player who can switch between being off the ball and on the ball while also making them take more three-point shots. Even more impressive is that it comes from a starter or start reserve who can defend at the point of attack. And those are the 5 contracts from the 2023 free agency period that is good for the front office and not so much for the player. If you like this video, please give it a like, leave a comment about what you're most excited about in the upcoming season. And if you're a new viewer, please subscribe. See you next time.